The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us on this Wednesday morning. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And this morning we're following breaking news of shots fired between police and a man holed up inside a home in Southwest Bakersfield. The standoff happened on Cibola Drive, which is a residential street off White Lane and East Gosford Road. It wrapped up around 3:45 this morning. Police say it all started around 9 o'clock last night when officers got a report of domestic violence. When they arrived at the home, a woman came out to talk to police. And that's when BPD says a man inside took out a rifle and started shooting at officers. 3 officers shot back, but police say no one was hit during the gunfire. Throughout the night, dozens of officers stood outside the home along with 2 Bearcats and members of the BPD SWAT team. Police say Richard Furo eventually surrendered. He was arrested on a slew of charges, including attempted murder.
This morning, the search continues for the suspects in the shooting deaths of 6 family members in Tulare County. The youngest victim just 10 months old. The shooting happened in the small town of Goshen, which is located just west of Visalia. That's about 75 miles north of Bakersfield. Early Monday morning, deputies say dozens of shots were fired in what is described as a cartel-style attack. Officials identifying the victims and announcing a $10,000 reward. Esteban Reynoso has the latest from our sister station in Fresno.
None of this was by accident. It was deliberate, intentional, and horrific.
Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreau calling this shooting a massacre. 6 family members, 3 generations of a family, 72-year-old Rosa Perez, 16-year-old Alyssa Perez, 10-month-old Nicholas Perez, 19-year-old Marcos Perez, 52-year-old Eliado Perez Jr., and 50-year-old Jennifer Anala, all shot and killed.
She believes somebody may be inside the house. She's in the trailer. She believes these subjects are inside the house. There's 5 adults and 1 baby.
Scanner traffic from that Monday morning. One of the 3 survivors was able to call 911 while gunshots rung out just feet away.
She can still hear these shots.
And I know for a fact that there was no reason to kill her, but they did. There was no reason to execute that baby, and they did it.
The sheriff says the home in Goshen is well known to law enforcement. A narcotics search warrant was conducted earlier this month, and drugs and guns were found inside.
This is a known home to our department. This is where gang activity has routinely occurred in the past. Not all these people in this home were gang members. Definitely this 10-month-old child is an innocent victim.
The sheriff's office is now working with several other agencies to find out who is responsible for the shooting. Sheriff Boudreau says the investigation has already taken them outside of Tulare County.
Make no mistake, I'm not saying that this is a cartel, but also be clear that I am not eliminating that possibility.
A 3rd survivor is unaccounted for at this time, but Sheriff Boudreau wants the community to know this was not random.
If I'm in my home and my neighbors were just massacred in a slaughter, I would be scared too. I'm confident, factual, that they were targeted for a reason.
Here at home, a 13-year-old boy is recovering this morning after being stabbed Monday night during an assault by multiple people. Police say the teen was taken to the hospital with moderate injuries and he is stable. Police say the stabbing happened Monday evening on 34th Street between O and Q Streets. No suspect information has been released. Anyone with information is urged to call BPD at 327-7111.
Meantime, sheriff's officials are warning of a phone scam where callers either tell residents about a gun buyback program or there is a warrant out for their arrest. KCSO says it does not ask for payment information over the phone or accept payment for tickets, fees, or fines. They say to ask suspected scammers for their name, employee identification number, callback number, and a reference number for the issue they're calling about. That information can be used to directly contact the organization and determine if the call is legitimate. Anyone with information or anyone who receives a call that they suspect is a scam, you're asked to call the sheriff's office at 861-3110 or your local law enforcement agency.
The sheriff's office made history last month, hiring the first female aviation mechanic to work with the department. She doesn't take to the skies herself as much as she'd like to, but she's flying high all the same. 17's Chris Burton brings us her story.
Carrie Sertucci's groundbreaking journey into aviation could be a movie. Fittingly, it began with one.
I was an 80s kid, so Top Gun came out, and I wanted to be a fighter pilot, actually.
But Sertucci wears glasses, a disqualifier for fighter pilots, so the soft-spoken Texan became an electrician and mechanic, and a good one. Last December, Sertucci became the first ever woman to join the Kern County Sheriff's Office flight mechanic team. She was the first woman to graduate from California Aeronautical University's new aircraft maintenance technician program. In fact, many places she's been the first woman to work there.
When I was overseas in the Middle East, I was also the first female to work in the VIP hangar. The Emirati military had never worked in that particular hangar, had never worked with a female before, so I had to earn their trust.
Her career has taken her around the world, with stops in the United Arab Emirates and South Korea, and a stint in the U.S. Navy. In just more than a month at KCSO, she's already earned praise from colleagues like 36-year veteran Adam Valdez.
Since we've had her hired on, she's been a great asset to the unit.
And while Sertucci hesitates to call herself a trailblazer,
to me, it's always just been what my job is. I've never, really thought of myself in that way.
She understands. In a male-dominated field, she's a maverick.
Whatever I wanted to do, I pursued those. It just so happens to fall in this field.
And 10 weeks after the election, not only is vote counting still going on here in Kern County, but so are concerns over election integrity, with no indication it will slow down heading into 2024. The topic is likely to take center stage as Kern County's new Registrar of Voters prepares to speak at the Board of Supervisors meeting next Tuesday. 17's political reporter Maddie Gannon has more.
This is the thing with California.
Every election, California is known for being one of the slowest states to count ballots and get results.
It's limited results that we're going to see right now, and it's going to be, in many cases, weeks.
The state's policies, such as requiring a 1% manual tally and allowing mail-in ballots to arrive up to a week after Election Day, require a lot of time, leading to criticism from some residents.
Now it's like, well, we may have the winner for you in a month or so.
Attention turned to the pace in Kern this November when the county's sole sorter machine broke down for a few hours, leaving election officials temporarily unable to process mail-in ballots.
Historically, we've only needed one sorter. But now with everything going to mail ballots, we had looked at another sorter.
The delay led to questions about why the county doesn't prioritize funding for another machine. But Kern County Registrar of Voters Amy Espinoza says that's the wrong question entirely.
We do have some funds available for that, but we don't have the space for it. But what happens is you squeeze another one in and then it reduces your space to carry out the processes after the envelopes go through the sorter.
I'm totally committed to getting them the equipment that they need. We need more than one.
Heading into 2024, Espinoza says she's working with the Board of Supervisors on creating the space for a second sorter, which Kern 3rd District Supervisor Jeff Flores says is a priority for him.
And there are clear skies across Kern County this morning, something that's been rare over the past few weeks. In many regions of California, 9 straight storm systems since Christmas have produced a year's worth of precipitation or more. A godsend in the eyes of many drought-weary Californians, but sadly, another golden opportunity to store large amounts of storm runoff will pass by us. 17's Robert Price explains.
Finally, after 2 weeks of storms, one right after the other, we have water in our parks and our lakes throughout the city. But what does it mean for the short term and for the long term?
It might have meant progress in the state's long-running quest to deal effectively with the drought if we had the means and the will to capture and store more of that water. But according to former State Senator Dean Flores, now a member of the California Air Resources Board, we don't. More than 2 million acre-feet of water has entered the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta in the past month, but the state missed the opportunity to capture 200,000 acre-feet of that water. Governor Gavin Newsom, Flores said, needs to prioritize water storage infrastructure the way he managed another persistent problem.
The real issue for the governor to solve is really taking the same type of approach that he took with wildfires and making it a priority, putting it front and center, getting everyone around the table to say, how are we going to solve this? This is an opportunity, I think, for this administration to finally put this as the priority that it should have been.
The problem, according to Jason Gianquinto, general manager of the Semi-Tropic Water Storage District, is that the state didn't anticipate this kind of rainfall over such a concentrated period. The state decreed how much water would go where and when based on the calendar, not real-life weather.
When they set up that protocol, I think it envisioned one atmospheric river, one significant rain event, to have this flushed, and then we'd be business as usual. It didn't envision the scenario we have right now where we had back-to-back-to-back atmospheric rivers.
And the governor's sip and gulp approach, sip small amounts for water storage when it's dry and gulp larger amounts when it's wetter, was not designed for our current reality, says Semi-Tropic Stan Waterhouse.
From a farmer perspective, we're sitting here going, hey, this is the time to take a gulp. We're ready. Jason told you all of our systems are ready to go, but we're offline.
What does all of this mean for those of us who value water as a quality of life visual amenity? Enjoy it while it's here, because it's not staying. Downstream lakes are full for a change, and that's nice.
2 months ago, Truxton Lake was a barren mud hole. Look at it now.
But barring an unforeseen and unlikely continuation of this January deluge, the Isabella Dam won't be releasing enough water from Isabella Lake to put water in the lower Kern down here in Bakersfield.
Record inflows in Lake Isabella last week, but there's a lot of storage capacity behind the newly modified Isabella Dam, and so they've got a huge hole to fill before they start making excess releases into the Kern River.
It'll take more than just a succession of storms to get us back to where we need to be, but for the time being, let's just enjoy it. At Riverwalk Park, Robert Price, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.